Next is a witness statement given by Paul McCarthy. It will be read to the jury by the junior counsel for the prosecution, whose name is Henry Riding. The statement is dated October the 25th, 2022. In the statement, Mr. McCarthy refers to a mate of his friend Nicholas McHale. He describes as a white male with dark hair and dark stubble, wearing all black. Mr. McCarthy was living in Nicholas McHale's home on Snowbury Road at the time. He had been there for about 3 or 4 days, and quoting Mr. McCarthy, he says it was due to splitting up with his ex-partner. Mr. McCarthy says he was sleeping in the back bedroom. At around midday on August 22nd, 2022, he drove Mr. McHale to Alderley Edge. Quoting Mr. McCarthy, he says, so he could meet up with a girl he was talking to. After around 2 hours, they headed back to Liverpool. They arrived back at Snowbury Road at around tea time. Tea time is like dinner time. Mr. Riding reads, me and Nicky stayed in and watched the Liverpool match on the telly. The match finished approximately 9:45 p.m. Approximately 5 to 10 minutes after the match finished, a friend of Nicky, Craig Brine, knocked at the address. He was carrying a khaki-coloured rucksack. He asked me for a lift to his mates. He was moving his stuff to his mates. I could smell cannabis in the air. On the way, we noticed there were police everywhere. Mr. McCarthy states he was asked to drive to a block of flats on Blackmore Drive. Mr. Brine returned after a few minutes without a bag. They returned via Kingsheath Avenue. Mr. Brine said something heavy must have gone on back at Snowbury Road. Mr. Brine stayed for around 5 minutes before leaving. At one stage, Mr. McHale went outside for a smoke. He returned with a friend and they were said to have rolled a spliff in the kitchen. Continuing to read from Mr. McCarthy's statement, Mr. Riding says, Nicky came out and asked if I could give his mate a lift back to his house. I noticed he was holding a spliff in his hand. I turned my car around and he directed me onto the Princess Drive. Then up to Jumbo's Chippy and onto Mab Lane. I pulled up. Nicky's mate said, nice one, and went into the address on the right hand side. The journey was awkward. We did not speak apart from him directing me. After watching football highlights for around an hour after returning, he went to bed. In the morning, Mr. McCarthy learned of the shooting. I was shocked, quotes Mr. McCarthy. Nobody ever should be in that situation. I seen Craig and Nicky throughout the day and the shooting was discussed. Just generally how bad it was, says Mr. McCarthy. It was a few months later on when I seen Tommy Cashman had been arrested. I realised he had been the same person as Nicky's mate. Mr. McCarthy says he never seen Nicky's mate before the incident. And that concludes Mr. McCarthy's statement.